Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, New York, Iran, Iraq, Hollywood, San Francisco, San Diego, Chicago, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, California.
Arguably the most beautiful large city in America, Pittsburgh is also one of the most unique and interesting cities in the country. I visited the city a few weeks ago with my family, and as my wife put it, this city is a hidden gem. In this series, I briefly touch on a city's history, population, skyline, as well as a few things that make it unique. Now, let's meet Pittsburgh. I always like to start by exploring how a city wound up being where it is today. Pittsburgh is located where the Allegheny and Monongahela rivers come together to form the Ohio River. This made it a key location to control during the time of colonialism and in particular during the 7 Years' War. The British were the first Europeans to start settling the area and started building Fort Prince George in 1754. It, however, wasn't completed before the French forces arrived later that year to destroy the fort, expel the British, and build their own fort named Fort Duquesne. 4 years later, the British won back control of the point and started construction on the much larger Fort Pitt. After the defeat of Native American forces led by Chief Pontiac, settlers started arriving in the area around the fort, and the town of Pittsburgh was laid out in 1764. Over the following decades, the combination of Pittsburgh's location on the rivers and its wealth of resources led the city to become an industrial center. Pittsburgh gained the nickname of the Iron City for its iron-making prowess, and its population grew tremendously following the Civil War. Today, Pittsburgh has a population of about 300,000, making it the second largest city in Pennsylvania and the 68th largest in the country. If you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I think metro population is more indicative of a city's true size. Pittsburgh has a metro population of around 2.3 million, making it the 27th largest metro in the country, behind Sacramento and just ahead of Austin. The Steel City in recent decades has made one of the most successful transitions of the Rust Belt cities to a more diversified economy. Some of the recognizable companies headquartered in Pittsburgh include PNC Financial Services, American Eagle, Heinz Ketchup, and Dick's Sporting Goods. The Pittsburgh area is also home to 29 colleges and universities, including Carnegie Mellon University and the University of Pittsburgh. Call me shallow, but when it comes to cities, I think appearances matter, which is why evaluating a city's skyline is my favorite part of making these videos. Pittsburgh is one of the best looking cities in the country. Its skyline itself is a borderline top 10 skyline in the country for me, but the fact that it's flanked by such natural beauty puts it on a different level. And this video won't do it justice, but driving out of the Fort Pitt Tunnel is one of the most breathtaking entrances to a city I've experienced. If you took the average height of the tallest 5 buildings in the city, Pittsburgh would be ranked as the 15th tallest city in the country, just behind Charlotte and just ahead of Denver. The tallest building in the city is the U.S. Steel Tower at 840 feet tall. Although the Steel City has an impressive skyline, the steel infrastructure it's most known for are its bridges. Nicknamed the City of Bridges, the city boasts a total of 446 bridges. There's a claim that Pittsburgh has the most bridges of any city in the world, but that claim can be a little controversial. What is less controversial though is that Pittsburgh has more bridges spanning over 300 feet than any city in the country. Although it could be argued that New York would tie Pittsburgh in that category depending upon how you count your bridges. In any event, there is no denying the huge amount of large bridges, which helps give Pittsburgh its unique look. Another unique piece of Pittsburgh infrastructure are the inclines that go up Mount Washington. The first inclines in the city were used to haul coal, but eventually they were used for transportation. There are only 2 left in operation, the most famous being the 145-year-old Duquesne Incline. The view at the top is considered by USA Today as one of the top 10 most beautiful views in America. One of the most important figures in Pittsburgh history was Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie amassed a fortune and became the world's richest man, but then famously gave away most of his money. His legacy on the city of Pittsburgh cannot be overstated. As part of his philanthropy, he started the Carnegie Institute, which would become the Carnegie Museums of Pittsburgh, of which there are 4. There is the Carnegie Museum of Art, which is the country's first modern art museum. The Carnegie Museum of Natural History houses, among many other things, the world's first discovered Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton. There's also the Carnegie Science Museum, which sits on the river adjacent to Heinz Field. The last of the 4 Carnegie museums is a little unlike the others, which is the Andy Warhol Museum. It's the largest museum for a single artist in all of North America. One of the unique aspects of Pittsburgh that I find most interesting is the Cathedral of Learning, which is located on the University of Pittsburgh's campus. At 535 feet tall, it is the tallest educational building in the Western Hemisphere and the second tallest in the world. And it's the second tallest Gothic-styled building in the world, only trailing one of my all-time favorite skyscrapers, the Woolworth Building in New York. The point where the rivers come together is known as Point State Park. A large fountain sits at the point, and they've created concrete outlines of the 2 historic forts. The Fort Pitt Museum is housed within one of the bastions of what was Fort Pitt, which I think was a great design idea for the museum. Pittsburgh is home to 2 incredible collections. One is at Bicycle Heaven, where there is the world's largest bicycle collection. There are 3,500 in the showroom, but over 30,000 if you count all of the bicycles in storage. The other collection I find really surprising is in the St. Anthony's Chapel. This Catholic chapel houses between 4,000 to 5,000 religious relics, which is the largest collection outside of the Vatican. One of the highest rated attractions in the city is the Phipps Conservatory and Botanical Gardens. The historic 14-room glass house is beautiful, and there are in total 23 different gardens. And I can't finish a video about Pittsburgh without mentioning the famous Primanti Brothers sandwich. This signature sandwich of Pittsburgh consists of 2 slices of Italian bread with meat, provolone, coleslaw, and most notably French fries in between. Well, that wraps up my video about Pittsburgh. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and check out some of my other videos about cities. Thanks for watching.
Dallas, Kansas, Mississippi, Oakland, Queensland, Indianapolis, Memphis, Salt Lake, Albuquerque, Denver, Boston, Houston, New York,